My family comes from nothing. And, some of the message I give is sometimes a little dark. I am a true patriot. The United States afforded me more opportunity than I could have ever dreamed of ever achieving. And I love my country, but what I see happening frightens the heck out of me. And my dad's middle name is Miles, and his best friend who lent us 60 grand to start a company in late 1989, middle name was Franklin. And so when I tell you we come from nothing in a one-room office the size of a closet. So please keep that in mind as I go through some of this, because I love my country. I'm very saddened to see what's happening. And I think this is very apropos. The U.S. has done more to destroy itself in the last few years than any external enemy could have ever done, and I mean that in my soul. And I think that's part of the problem as we go through this. In fact, I often wonder, the little boys and girls around the world that would watch TV, and American TV, and listen to American music, and the things that made this country great. When I say this country, I mean the United States. Is it the same country anymore? And I'm not quite sure. We'll talk a little bit about that, but I think it's kind of appropriate for me to start that way. Now, this slide came up a little bit goofed up. I don't know why, but that's why they called me up there. But this is a term that I have become very, very fond of. I think you can talk about things that are cultural or economic, little by little by little by little by little by little, then all at once. And everyone needs instant gratification. And for most in the United States, that's not fast enough. And so they think it's a nothing burger. It's never going to happen. Look at what's happening around us, all around us, not just around the world, but at home. Little by little by little in the United States, we're reaching a cultural whitewashing. And I think outside the world doesn't look at us the same way anymore because of a lot of the things we've done, weaponizing the dollar, using coercion instead of cooperation, doing things that I think instead of clinging to the exorbitant privilege of being the world reserve currency, we are doing all we can to lose that. And when you look at this man right here, I talked a little bit about it this morning, it becomes a little eerie. This is a guy whose whole thesis is to lose the world reserve currency status. He is the chief economic advisor to the US government. And he's written a report called Dethrone King Dollar, where he advocated for this. And when Trump slapped tariffs on China, he said, great, maybe we'll lose the reserve status. That was picked up in the Washington Post. And when you think about the things we have done, weaponizing the dollar, signing an executive order to go green, these are the things that make me wonder. But, as the world reserve currency, it should not be our prerogative to say you can use it and you can't. Think of it this way. We invaded Iraq 20 years ago. Right? 20 years ago, we invaded them. They would tell you we did it illegally as we were looking for weapons of mass destruction. We destroyed their country. We toppled their regime, put in a new one, and sorry, we didn't find any. And we're still there 20 years later. We're sanctioning 14 of their banks for trading with Iran to buy liquid natural gas to cool their homes in the middle of a 100+ degree summer. Not cool. They make last year, $90 billion in oil revenue, Iraq did. And they're not even allowed to control or direct the proceeds of their oil sales. It's held at the New York Fed. They asked, hey, can we have $1 billion just a few months ago? What do you think we said? Yeah, don't think so. So what did they do? Well, they formally said we'd love to be in BRICS. They're kicking the coalition forces out of the country. They made trading in dollars illegal. If you own a business and you trade in dollars, you will go to prison and they'll take your business. And as of January 1st, a few weeks ago, there are no green bills in any bank in Iraq. They look at us as being hypocritical, and they're not the only ones, but this is a trend that is very alarming, this coercive pattern. And sanctioning pattern is not something that is embraced so much anymore, I'll tell you that much.
Quick break here, guys. Today's episode is brought to you by Copernico Metals. Now, regular viewers of my channel will be familiar with the entrepreneur behind Copernico. His name is Ivan Bebek. Now, although a young man in this business, Ivan's already created tremendous value for his shareholders in the past, namely with Caden Resources, which he sold to Agnico Eagle, and Keegan Resources, which became a mine now owned by Galliano Gold. Now, Ivan has surrounded himself with expertise from BHP, Newmont, and VRIC on his board at Copernico Metals. Check out copernicometals.com. Now back to the interview.
You know, think about it. The dollar is the dollar, or is the world reserve currency, because of the deal that Kissinger struck with the Saudi kingdom. We're going to protect you, but you're going to value oil in dollars through OPEC globally and reinvest the proceeds in treasuries. Okay, so we signed an executive order to go green. The day we left Afghanistan, we had people hanging from a transport plane. The day after that, Saudi Arabia announces a joint military cooperation agreement with Russia. You can see little by little by little by little these things are changing, but why would anyone want to sell us their oil for a currency that is being inflated away? We're telling them we're going green, and look at the proceeds that are supposed to be the excess, supposed to go into the bond market. How's that worked out for them, you think? So when you talk about incentivizing the world to look another way, it's happening. We're going green. We're weaponizing the dollar. We don't align ideologically with half of the world. We're bullies, destroying the currency. Bond market's very unstable. For the first time in 45 years, gold is less volatile than the 10-year treasury. Look what all the banks around the world are doing. They're selling treasuries and buying gold. Since 2000, gold has appreciated by 7.8% per year annually. It's the tortoise. It's not the hare. All of us in cryptos and all of these things think that markets are supposed to go bang. Well, when you inject trillions of dollars into the system and keep interest rates suppressed forever, asset prices become stupid. And that's exactly what's happened. But quietly, when no one was looking, gold has outperformed the S&P at 7.8% return annually versus 7% on the S&P. It's obliterated the bond market. So these countries are saying, look, for 25 years, gold would have been the place to be. Let's sell our treasuries. We don't need them anymore, and we'll buy gold. It's happening little by little by little by little, and then all at once.